Well, before we get to my first guest, I want you to see what happened when he visited a college campus to discuss with students the issue of American troops being sent to our southern border.
I'm Cabot Phillips with Campus Reform. Today we're at UC Santa Barbara talking to students about President Trump's recent decision to send troops to the southern border. And will their opinions on that move change when they find out President Obama actually did the same thing a few years ago? Let's find out. So President Trump recently announced he's going to be sending a few thousand troops down to the border to try and secure the influx of people coming across illegally. Do you support sending troops down to the border? Yes or no? Okay, so 3 no's.
I feel like it's not justified, mostly because it is a totally uncalled for act of power.
Definitely disapprove. I don't know. I think it just puts a bad light on America.
Not productive. I'm not a huge fan of the military to begin with. We're spending way too much money on that. I think it would be a complete waste of money.
It's not projected correctly, so it's not resonating well with me, at least.
I don't think it's good to send, militarized troops to people who are coming in unarmed.
Did you know that President Obama did the exact same thing when he was president?
Honestly, I'm not super up to date with politics. I didn't know that, so.
I did not know that.
Is that surprising?
I mean, yeah, I guess, yeah. I would say, yeah, that's kind of surprising.
When President Obama did it, I felt that there was, I suppose, different coverage as to what the intentions were.
I don't know anything about that personally, so the difference is definitely with publicity and false information.
So I guess I would have to read up more about the intentions behind Trump's versus the intentions behind Obama.
That's right. Future leaders of the nation, President Obama and Bush, sent troops to our southern border long before the current president even considered it. Well, that's just one of the many things that our college students are not being taught. Here to tell us why and what he's doing to expose bias and abuse on the nation's college campuses is the media director for Campus Reform, Cabot Phillips. Cabot, great having you here. That was fun watching that. Yeah. You know what amazes me, Cabot? Parents are spending tens of thousands of dollars a year and these kids are racking up debt and they really don't have a clue about the world they're living in.
They don't understand the basics of what it means to be an American, to be an adult, having debate and looking at the issues, not just on who's proposing them. And I think if we're going to begin to fix the problem on our college campuses, it's going to have to start with educating people on the history of our country, the Constitution, the First Amendment, how it applies and how it protects ideas that maybe make you a little uncomfortable. That's what free speech is there for.
But I'm surprised at how little knowledge they have of current events. And as you said, of the Constitution, I wondered, do they still teach 9th grade civics? Is that still part of the curriculum?
They've begun to replace a lot of the required history courses, required literature courses, with these new social justice initiatives. And this happens around the country. It's not just an isolated incidents, where they've now said, okay, we'll replace some of those traditional courses with new ones, like, feminist logic, whatever, dance theory, all these new courses. They call them social justice courses. And what
I was a major in dance theory, so be careful.
I can tell.
So,
does anyone in this room want to hire a person coming out of college from the land of trigger warnings, safe spaces? And the first reaction for a lot of people when they hear an idea they don't like is to scream and yell and shut it down. And that is dangerous. That's why everyone should be concerned about what's happening.
Campus Reform, which you're a part of, you do these videos. You go to campuses, so you ask these questions. I'm sure that it doesn't always make you popular, does it?
It does not. And really all it takes for not being popular on campus is being not a liberal. So going to campus with ideas that are trying to get people to think outside the box, and it gets people angry. They try to shut you down. And it's not just me, it's any student that pushes back against that narrative that's coming from the classroom. We have one of our campus correspondents out in California. She let people know, hey, I'm a conservative, can I get a comment for a story? People chased her to her car with bats and lead pipes. They're at a protest, they're beating her car.
All in the name of tolerance.
All in the name of tolerance. Yeah. One student in Northern Arizona, you'll appreciate this, lost points on her assignment because she used the word mankind, which is apparently not gender neutral, and so she lost points because of that. But this is a trend, it's a growing trend, and again, we need to begin to hold these people accountable or it's not going to change.
And parents are paying really good money for that, aren't they?
They are, and any other business, if colleges were run like a business, most of them would be out of business. Their doors would shut because people would realize they aren't doing their jobs.
There are parents who are making big sacrifices. They're working really hard, working extra jobs so they can send their kids to college, and frankly, make us laugh at what they don't know.
I think the purpose is not to expose, oh, these people are uninformed, but to expose there's a systemic problem here that needs to be addressed. And if no one knows what's going on, then no one's going to care enough to want to fix it. And I think a lot of this stems also from identity politics. Everyone is reduced now to their gender, their race, their orientation, and it's all about this idea of, privilege. We have, male privilege, straight privilege, white privilege. I'm sure he has Huckabee privilege, everything out there, anything under the sun, anything under the sun.
Do you find, Cabot, that a lot of times mainstream media people ignore what you try to bring to them? Do they just not want to hear it? They don't want to expose it? They don't want to have anything to do with it because it points out some faults in our system?
If there were liberal students that were being shut down, and if there were conservatives rioting against liberal speakers on campus every week, I promise you the mainstream media would be covering it.
Yeah.
But because it's conservative ideas that are being stifled, because it's conservative speakers being shut down, much of the media doesn't want to cover it because it would acknowledge that it's their own side being intolerant. And so we would encourage, we want anyone to just try and talk about this because it's not a partisan issue. The future of our country is something everyone should be concerned with. And if there is a failure in our system, and in this case, I think college, most people would agree, is failing our young people, then we should work together across the aisle to defend free speech, to defend ideas, defend our future. It's not a partisan issue.
No, it really isn't. And I want to say thanks for what you're doing to go out there and just educate students and educate the rest of America about what's happening on college campuses. By the way, if you want to know more about Cabot Phillips and campus reform, visit campusreform.org. Their powerful articles and honest journalism will show you why they are the #1 watchdog of our nation's higher education system. Again, their address, campusreform.org.